Good afternoon to all, and thank you for joining us today. As Chris says, my name is Maria de Los Angeles Rivera. I'm from Puerto Rico, and I'm right now in Puerto Rico. I'm a CPA tax accountant in Kibane Grant Thornton, and we have been studying opportunity zones since they were enacted back in 2017, and we're still studying and studying and studying. So one thing that I would give to you in the compliance area, that with opportunity zones, everything is compliance. From the investors to the funds to the QCBs, everybody has to meet the compliance requirements, and there are a lot of compliance requirements for each one of those levels. So don't enter the zone alone. Enter along with your accountant, your advisor, your attorney, whomever you better trust in this arena to help you and guide you through the process.
Thank you, Maria. I'm going to now, Paul, I see you next. Do you want to go ahead and talk about who you are?
Yeah, well, welcome everybody. I won't talk about myself because you can see my profile at OZworks, so we don't need to be redundant with that. But I've been involved with OZ Capital Markets for more than 2 years. I have two comments. One is compliance is not optional. Okay, this is not a low sport activity. Secondly, what's very important about compliance is tone at the top in embracing Oz tax compliance best practices. In other words, walking the talk, because first it's going to result in another strong selling point in successfully raising Oz capital. The absence of discussion of compliance is not going to sit well with prospective investors trying to understand that. B, it's going to bring clarity to investors and their advisors so that there is a clear path of compliance from their investment wallet all the way down to the portfolio companies that reside in the QOFs. C, it's going to reduce the costs of defending awkward tax positions in front of the IRS if you don't have robust compliance procedures. It will also bring Oz capital markets in line with the RIC world, which started in 1940, and the REIT world, which started in 1960. As I've said here before, this is another tax creature along with RICs and REITs, and it's going to be rigorous in terms of what happened to RICs and REITs on their compliance structures. And finally, it creates embedded tax benefits for all QOF investors, not just those bringing capital gains. Even bringing non-capital gains, there are going to be embedded tax benefits that will reside with their position that would be available so long as the overlying structure was compliant. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Paul. And we'll dig into some of these things in a few minutes here. Patrick, you're next. If you can unmute yourself.
Okay, when will I learn? Afternoon, everyone. Patrick Sughroue. I'm with a boutique law firm called the Business Law Group. We do a lot of transactional. We do exclusively transactional work. My specialty is in alternative business transactions, alternative investment structuring, and the like. So the QOZ space is like a kid in a sandbox for me. I guess my one takeaway would be that compliance in this space is not a one and done. It's not an event type deal. It's not what you do at the beginning of your investment and then, whew, I got that done right. It's a continuum. And it's a continuum from before the investment, time of investment, during the investment, exiting the investment, and every step in between. That's true for investors, for qualified opportunity funds, qualified opportunity zone businesses. So be aware of that. It's you're in for the long haul on that. And as Maria said, and I agree, you're not alone out there. There are experts out there. There are sponsors out there that are gaining experiences. There are compliance people that are developing best practices. use your network. OZworks is like fabulous. I think it's just been a great start to this platform, but also the resources out there to learn. OpportunityDB.com, the rest of the resources out there that we learn about in this network, use them and understand you're in it for the long haul in terms of compliance, and make friends.
Thanks, Patrick. I'm going to move along to someone who you actually invited to the network. Mark, thank you both for being here and for being so supportive. Mark, go ahead, introduce yourself if you don't mind.
All right. Sure. Thank you, Chris. So my name is Mark Greco. I'm the tax director at a national accounting firm called BKD LLP, and I work out of the Northwest Arkansas office in Rogers, Arkansas. And I primarily work with a lot of flow-through entities, so a lot of partnerships and partners returns, and a lot of S corps and shareholders returns. And I've really been working with a lot of opportunity zone investors since we started doing those opportunity zone fund returns when they came out in 2018. And I think just a piece of advice for anyone looking to go into opportunity zones or already in one is just, to have your advisors and really to talk about, to meet with them and talk to them about what you're planning, what your investment plan is, and just to get some good advice on, are you looking to invest in real estate in the opportunity zone, and just to get some of that good consulting and advice up front to manage expectations. I find that goes a long way. Just the other day, I was meeting with a new investor and we went through everything, and right at the end, we started analyzing their capital gain and realized, their capital gain ultimately came from a related party, and it wasn't something that we could use. So just looking at all aspects, entering it, I feel like is very important. So.
Thanks, Mark. Really appreciate that. And Valerie.
Hi, so I don't think I've met many of you. Valerie Granduski. I'm a tax principal, also a CPA out of Plant Moran. I'm up in Detroit, Michigan. Most of my career, I've spent a lot of time with both wealth management tax and in the real estate industry. And so when I saw this in TCJA that they were actually going to, push out opportunity zones, I kind of decided to raise my hand and help lead our opportunity zone practice. So I've been spending quite a bit of time in this area, much like everyone else who's just talked over the past couple of years, and it's been a lot of fun. But to the question that Chris posed, I think there's a couple of different pieces that I wanted to touch on real quick. The first one is, we all really want this program to be successful. We have a lot of great ideas of ways that it could be easier to use, or maybe we'd like to see it expanded or pushed out. And in order for that to happen, I think it's important for people to pay attention to what the compliance rules are and not try to force something to fit into the program that doesn't and ends up with all of the bad press that you saw early on, or maybe even some still recently, where people are trying to make something work as an opportunity zone deal that was never intended, to be one based on the spirit of the legislation. And the other piece is just, as we talk through this today and as you learn more about this, it can be pretty aggressive, like the number of things you have to worry about, the number of tests that exist, and like they said, keeping up on it annually. And I think what's really important is understanding your structure and understanding who your investor is, because who's the one who stands the most to lose, if you will, if you don't do it right. And it's that investor. It's the one who deferred the capital gain and is planning to have this great benefit on the back end. And so I think you just need to make sure that you understand what your investor's expectations are before you get started. So thanks, Chris.